In a peaceful village nestled among lush green hills, there was a small Zen temple known for its serenity and the wisdom of its master, Zen Master Hiroshi. The villagers often sought his guidance, but there was one young man named Kaito who was particularly troubled. His mind was constantly plagued by negative thoughts, self-doubt, and anger. Kaito had heard of Master Hiroshi's teachings but never had the courage to approach him. His negative thoughts made him believe that he was beyond help. However, as time passed, Kaito realized he could no longer bear the burden of his own mind and decided to seek the Master's wisdom. Act 1: The Burden of Negative Thoughts. Kaito was a diligent worker and a kind-hearted person, but he was always overshadowed by a cloud of negativity. He had been hurt by people in the past, and those experiences had planted deep seeds of resentment and anger within him. He often found himself replaying past events in his mind, imagining how he could have responded differently or how he could have avoided certain situations. These thoughts consumed him, leaving him anxious, stressed, and emotionally drained. One evening, after a particularly difficult day at work, Kaito could no longer suppress his feelings. He sat alone in his small, dimly lit room, the silence only amplifying the chaotic thoughts swirling in his mind. The weight of his emotions became unbearable, and he knew he had to do something. Kaito had heard stories of people finding peace after visiting Zen Master Hiroshi, and though he was skeptical, he decided that he had nothing to lose. The next morning, Kaito set out for the Zen temple. The journey to the temple was peaceful. The sound of birds chirping, the rustling of leaves, and the cool breeze provided a stark contrast to the turmoil within him. As he approached the temple, he felt a sense of calm wash over him, but his mind was still restless. Act 2: The First Encounter with the Zen Master. Kaito entered the temple and was greeted by a monk who led him to a small garden where Zen Master Hiroshi was meditating. The master was an elderly man with a gentle smile and kind eyes that seemed to see right through Kaito. The young man felt an inexplicable sense of comfort in the master's presence. Master Hiroshi, Kaito began, hesitating for a moment. I have come seeking your guidance. My mind is filled with negative thoughts, and they are tearing me apart. I cannot find peace. The master nodded, acknowledging Kaito's words without judgment. He gestured for Kaito to sit beside him on the wooden bench in the garden. Kaito, the master began in a calm voice. The mind is like a garden. It can grow beautiful flowers, or it can grow weeds. What you choose to nurture will determine the state of your mind. Tell me, what do you see when you look at this garden? Kaito looked around at the garden, which was filled with a variety of flowers, trees, and plants. I see a beautiful, well-kept garden, he replied. Master Hiroshi smiled. This garden did not become beautiful on its own. It required attention, care, and effort. The gardener had to remove the weeds, water the plants, and ensure they received enough sunlight. Your mind is no different. To remove the negative thoughts, you must first become aware of them, understand them, and then replace them with thoughts that nourish your spirit. Act 3: Understanding the nature of thoughts. Kaito listened intently as the master continued. Negative thoughts are like dark clouds. They can obscure the light, but they are not permanent. They come and go just like the weather. The key is not to resist them, but to understand them. But Master Kaito interjected, how can I understand them when they cause me so much pain? I feel trapped by these thoughts, and they seem to control me. Master Hiroshi nodded. Negative thoughts have power over you because you give them power. You believe them, you dwell on them, and you let them define you. But they are not you, Kaito. They are merely passing clouds in the sky of your mind. You must learn to observe them without attachment. The master then picked up a small stone from the ground and handed it to Kaito. Hold this stone, he instructed. Kaito did as he was told. Now, imagine that this stone represents one of your negative thoughts. How does it feel to hold it? Kaito considered the question. It feels heavy, master. Exactly, said Master Hiroshi. Now imagine holding onto many stones, each one representing a negative thought. How would that feel? It would be unbearable, Kaito admitted. Yet this is what you do every day, the master explained. You carry the weight of these thoughts with you wherever you go, but you have the power to put them down. The first step is to recognize that you are holding on to them. Kaito looked at the stone in his hand. For the first time, he saw his thoughts as something separate from himself, something he could choose to hold on to or let go. Act 4: The practice of letting go. The Zen master then asked Kaito to stand up and follow him. They walked to a nearby river that flowed gently through the temple grounds. The sound of the water was soothing, and the sunlight reflected off the surface, creating a peaceful atmosphere. Now, Kaito, Master Hiroshi said, throw the stone into the river. Kaito hesitated for a moment, then tossed the stone into the river. He watched as it sank below the surface and disappeared from sight. The water rippled for a moment, then returned to its calm state. Just as the river carries away the stone, you can allow your mind to let go of negative thoughts, the master explained. When you feel a negative thought arise, do not hold on to it. Acknowledge it, then release it, just as you release the stone. Over time, this practice will become natural, and your mind will become as calm as this river. Kaito felt a sense of relief wash over him. The act of throwing the stone into the river, simple as it was, had a profound impact on him. He realized that he had the power to choose whether or not to hold on to his negative thoughts. Act 5: Cultivating positive energy. Over the following weeks, Kaito visited the Zen master regularly. Master Hiroshi taught him various mindfulness practices, including meditation, deep breathing, and visualization. Kaito learned to become more aware of his thoughts and emotions, and instead of reacting to them, he observed them with curiosity and detachment. One day, as they sat together in the garden, Master Hiroshi said, "Kaito, just as it is important to remove negative thoughts, it is equally important to cultivate positive energy. A mind that is free of negative thoughts is like an empty garden bed. You must plant seeds of positivity if you want your garden to flourish." Kaito thought for a moment. "But how do I do that, Master?" "By practicing gratitude, kindness, and compassion," the master replied. "When you focus on the good in your life, you nourish your mind with positive energy. When you show kindness to others, you create a ripple effect that spreads positivity. And when you are compassionate with yourself, you heal the wounds caused by negative thoughts." Kaito took the master's words to heart. He began keeping a journal where he wrote down things he was grateful for each day. He made an effort to perform small acts of kindness, whether it was helping a neighbor or offering a kind word to a stranger. And most importantly, he practiced self-compassion, reminding himself that it was okay to make mistakes and that he was worthy of love and happiness. Act 6: The transformation. As time went on, Kaito noticed a significant change in himself. The negative thoughts that once dominated his mind were no longer as powerful. They still arose from time to time, but Kaito had learned not to engage with them. Instead, he let them pass like clouds in the sky, knowing that they were temporary. His newfound positivity began to influence other areas of his life as well. He was more focused at work, his relationships improved, and he felt a deep sense of inner peace that he had never experienced before. The burden of negativity had lifted, and in its place there was lightness and joy. One day, Kaito returned to the Zen temple to thank Master Hiroshi for his guidance. As they sat together in the garden, Kaito said, "Master, I cannot express how grateful I am for your teachings. My mind is no longer a prison of negative thoughts. I feel free." Master Hiroshi smiled, his eyes twinkling with warmth. "Kaito, the peace you feel is not because of my teachings, but because of your own efforts. You have learned to tend to the garden of your mind with care and compassion. Remember, the journey does not end here. Continue to practice, continue to grow, and your mind will remain a place of peace and positivity." Kaito nodded, understanding the master's words. He knew that the practice of mindfulness and positivity was a lifelong journey, but he was ready for it. He had experienced the power of letting go and the beauty of cultivating positive energy, and he was determined to continue nurturing his mind. Inclusion. As Kaito walked away from the temple that day, he felt a sense of contentment that he had never known before. The path he had chosen was not always easy, but it was one that led to freedom from the chains of negative thoughts. Through the guidance of Zen Master Hiroshi and his own dedication, Kaito had transformed his mind from a place of darkness to a garden of light. This story of Kaito's journey serves as a reminder that we all have the power to remove negative energy from our minds. By practicing mindfulness, letting go of negative thoughts, and cultivating positive energy, we can create a life filled with peace, happiness, and fulfillment. Just as Kaito found his way to a better state of mind, so too can we. If we choose to tend to the garden of our thoughts with care and compassion,